So to start this up, we just select the modifiers that we want. Let's say a lot of flat damage. We want 2 of them. Start it. And now you can see we are very, very fast. All depends on how fast I can click. The average hit rate is around 337. So we should get a hit very soon. Hopefully earlier. You can see I don't have to check the modifiers at all. It's doing all of that for me. Yes, we're done. Tier 1 Fizz and Cold. What's up everyone and welcome back to another POE economics video. So today we take another look at the Econ Crafter. There has been a very significant update that will make this tool even better. So this video is for all members that have already bought the membership and of course, among other things, have access to this tool, but also for anyone that is curious about the program since the last video, as well as anyone that has just discovered this video. Now first, I will go over all the new functionalities, and after that we will go over exactly how to use this tool, so anyone that has just discovered this can properly reference this video. So to give you a quick explanation of what this tool can do, we're basically improving the process of using shit tons of currencies on items and doing that while staying TOS conform. I have discussed how this is TOS conform with references in the other video, so if you're curious about that kind of stuff, go ahead and watch it. It will be linked on the top right. I am always available on the Discord for any questions as well. And if you want to, you can also check out the website. We have a ton of other benefits that you have access to, even if you're not a paying member. Like for example, we have a really good market tab that you won't find anywhere else, as well as we have a bunch of functionalities like the PO Economics Fund that are accessible to anyone, where you can invest your divines and we trade with them to make you profit. So that kind of stuff is all in the video description. Now let's get started with the crafter. The first thing that we notice after opening the crafter again is that we now have a couple of new things in the desired mods tab. The first of which being the item level as well as the currency level. Now the item level is basically the level of the item that we're working with, which determines the maximum tier modifier that we can roll. If we change this to a lower number, it will show us that we cannot roll the higher tier modifiers anymore. The same thing goes for the currency level, which is basically the minimum modifier level that we can roll, because as you know, we have things like the greater currency and perfect currency that allow us to disregard modifiers that have a low level. So you can set both of these here, and then it will show you which modifiers you can hit. The number that it shows you when you have the required item level is actually the amount of applications that it will need with the currency that you've defined up here to get that modifier on average. This will of course change dynamically with what item level and currency level you are working with. So when we select multiple of these modifiers, we can look at the selection tab and see the chance for getting these modifiers, of course depending on the amount of modifiers that we have selected from our desired mod pool. In this case, 2. All of this is already nice to see, but the real improvement is actually the profit calc tab, where you can calculate how much profit you will make for each application by setting a few parameters. So first off, you can see that depending on what modifiers we have selected, we can see a couple of combinations here. And those are basically all of the combinations that we can get with the mod count that we have selected, as well as the desired modifiers. And then we can set prices for these combinations right here, both in Divines and Exalted. Now, of course, to put these sale prices into perspective, what it costs to craft them, we also want to put in the conversion rates that are at the top. So for example, we want to put in how many Exalted are 1 Divine, how many Exalted does an apply cost, how many Exalted does a remove cost, and of course, how many did the base cost. And then we can see our average profit. You can also change the item level and the currency level in here, which changes the amount of profit per application. And this is really useful because with this, you can determine if your craft is profitable or not by changing what your possible combinations sell for. So this new update has a lot of versatility and is very, very useful. And so I recommend, if you are part of the existing members or you get yourself a membership, you definitely want to try this out. So that is everything about just the update. Now let's get into how to use this tool again in its entirety if you haven't seen the last video. It is very, very simple. You first select, after you start up this program, what game you're playing. Then you select what path you're doing, either explicit apply or remove or explicit spam. Apply and remove is anything where you have one currency where you add modifiers and another to remove modifiers. Explicit spam is when you have a singular currency that you're just rerolling with. And then you select how many modifiers you want in the box to the right of that, and then head to the desired mods tab to configure the mod pool. There you first select the item that you're using, and then you select all modifiers that you want on that item. After, if you go to the positions tab, you will just have to capture your positions. You do that by opening this tool over your POE in borderless mode, and then you press the capture button and hover over the item position, then spacebar to capture that position. As long as it's green, you're capturing more positions. When you press escape, you're not capturing anymore. There are of course things like arm grid capture, where you just have to configure the X and the Y, and then you can press arm grid and spacebar on one corner of your items and spacebar on the other. That is, for example, when you're using multiple stacks of additive currency, multiple stacks of removal currency, or simply a lot of bases. So after we've selected additive and removal currency, we just designate our item position. That's basically where our item is. Multiple items can be crafted at the same time, a ton of different bases, but that has to be done through the multi-base crafting, where you can configure craft tabs, bases tabs, as well as the positions of the bases in your base tabs. Here the arm grid really shines, since it makes it a lot easier to capture 144 plus item positions. After that, you just have the statistics tab, the already explained profit calc tab, and the settings tab with some settings which I in general wouldn't touch. There's of course some humanization that you can turn on or off if you want that, but just leaving everything like it is my recommendation. Finally, we have the buttons on the top right, which are pretty obvious. You have the view button where you can enable seeing different tabs. You have the help button where you get links to the Discord, the website, the YouTube, and you get a tutorial button where if you press on the tutorial, you will get a full step-by-step tutorial of the entire tool. And lastly, you obviously have the save button where you can save all your configured modifiers, settings, positions to easily continue where you left off. Now, after configuring everything that you want to configure, the only thing that's left is starting it up. You go into the game, into the correct stash tab, and then you hold Control and press 1. And now it's armed and you can just repeatedly spam 3 and it will start re-rolling the modifiers. For extra info, you can put this tool on a second screen with the statistics tab open and see some very practical information. Now, lastly, I highly recommend that you check out the Discord as well as the website. And of course, if you want to see more of this, please subscribe. If you're curious about the progress on the free version of this tool, which has less features, but also has some very good quality of life, you can always ask me in the Discord, where I'm always open for any questions from anyone. And I hope that this video has helped you out and maybe it piqued your interest in the crafter and this whole project that we're doing. Anyways, subscribe. Thank you to all of the members, and I will see you guys in the next one.